People ask me all the time, what's the craziest thing you've seen in prison? And I will tell you that the list goes on and on. I spent 16 years, 11 months in confinement. But one of the things that came to mind today when I was asked that question wasn't necessarily anything violent or, obscene or any of that. Well, depending on how you look at it. But it was the following. And it was that one day when I was on a level 4, maximum security, Sussex 2, where I will say that mental health issues ran prevalent, and I'm so glad they finally closed that prison down, that I was walking back to my cell after outside rec. And I had probably about 10 minutes to grab my stuff, get to a shower before lockdown. I was rushing, and I'm running back to the cell just like everybody to try to get into one of the empty showers before the next man did or get somewhere in line. I called for my cell door to be open, and I almost had to stop right there because I'll never forget it. And I'm running down the little lane or whatever in the pod to get to my cell. And right when I go to turn in, my cell partner is naked in the toilet, standing in the toilet. Envision somebody standing inside of a jail toilet, and he's got a cup of water, his tumbler that he drinks coffee out of, and he's filling this. I seen all this in about 3 seconds. He's pouring water on himself. He's covered in soap. My cell partner had lost his mind. And now some of y'all probably saying like, dang, why are you saying that? Well, first and foremost, this was a brother that we was all right with. And he was battling some things. But what I want to tell you is you don't know where somebody's at mentally until usually something happens or occurs that calls for an alarm. And before I went to outside rec, the conversation was normal. Yo, bro, you going out? Nah, I am though. Hey, make sure if you can get in the shower line for me, or I'm gonna come back here and grab my stuff before count, man. In case you're using the restroom, you're on point. Cool. Everything was normal. Older cat, used to work all the time, all that, stayed out the way, read books, did not cause problems to nobody, and was not the type of guy to be just flying off the handle. But when I came back to the cell, he had lost his mind. I had to do what I had to do, and that was called for the officers, because I'm not going in there to grab, hey, you good? Because I said, bro, you good? And he was just mumbling and pouring water and rubbing himself with soap and whatever else was going on at that time. Because what I'm going to tell you next is I didn't get my sheets, my linen, or anything off the bed because he had got all that stuff wet. And the stuff, my property that I did have in the box, that was good. But anything else was suspect because the floor was wet. He was in there just having a good old time in that toilet. Eventually, the officers came down there. They grabbed him, not in a violent way, nothing like that. They just made sure they could secure him, get him up out of there. They gave me stuff to clean the cell, all that, blah, blah, blah. But what I want to say is that's just one incident. I've got other incidences that I can speak on, not just on that camp, but lower level camps. I knew an individual that rolled everywhere he went on the compound. Rolled, like got on the ground and rolled like this, and rolled. That's it. He was out his mind. I knew one guy, he would get on the pull-up bar, pull himself on, just drop, boom, hit the ground. Mental health. It's a serious thing. Mental illness. It's a serious thing in prison. I know an individual who lost who he was, period. Like, we're talking one day, we're cool. You going out, you playing ball on the court with us. You playing cards, you going to school. And then one thing, you just lose your mind. And now you're mumbling and you don't know how to dress yourself. I can go on and on about the examples of mental illness inside those prison walls. And the issue is there's not enough mental health support there. That is like less than 1% of the situations and things that I've seen firsthand. Never mind what everybody else has. Do you understand what I'm saying? Prison is not a place where people should be going to get mental health treatment. And what we need to understand, I guess what I'm trying to convey through this post is sometimes when people commit crimes, it's mental health, it's mental illness, it's whatever. And then they bring that in there with them. Or if you go into prison, you're going to end up with some type of trauma, anxiety, PTSD. And everybody is not mentally strong enough to make it through that part. You're in there in prison 24/7. It is a grueling, harsh, cold environment. And everybody mentally cannot endure. So yeah, I'm talking about something crazy when my cell partner was taking a bird bath in the toilet. I'm talking about a guy that rolled down the boulevard. I'm talking about guys that used to pull them up, slam themselves, all types of weird stuff. People that lost their mind, losing. because it's very real, man. And I hope that if you're seeing this, if you've never been in there, you don't ever have to go. If you have been in there, then I'm sure you can put in the comments a bunch of examples of things you've seen when it comes to mental illness inside of prison walls. But the moral of the story is always the same. Stay free. Peace.